good evening, and welcome. Tonight we're going to read the next bit out of the 2022 Night Sky Almanac because it is nearly May. So we're going to look and see what's coming up this coming month in the night sky. Let's see what it says. May's events. More comfortable nights are now here. Since the nights are also getting shorter, this is a good time to start planning for viewing the stars and more from summertime retreats, whether it's time away at a cottage or just camping under a curtain of stars. Our fabulous foursome of planets, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, are still well placed in the morning sky. Venus is now sinking lower toward the horizon, however. After sunset on May 2nd, look for the planet Mercury low in the west, about 5 degrees west of a young crescent moon. On May 29th, Jupiter and Mars are in conjunction less than half a degree apart, low in the eastern dawn sky. Bring out the binoculars or a small telescope for that one. There's also a meteor shower this month, the Eta Aquariids, which began on April 19th, but peaks on the night of May 4th to 5th. Though it's better seen from the southern hemisphere, the shower could produce 10 to 30 meteors an hour. Let's check out the moon this month. Isn't this beautiful? This is the first month of the year that doesn't start with a new moon. Apogee falls on May 5th, and perigee falls on May 17th, the day after the full moon. On May 16th, there will be a total lunar eclipse that will be visible either in part or in its entirety across North America. And after we look at the sky this month, we'll read about the eclipses happening this year. The moon swings through the planets in the early morning, starting on May 22nd, when it will be roughly 4 degrees south of Saturn. On May 25th, a crescent moon lies below Jupiter, roughly 4 degrees away from it, and Mars sits less than 3 degrees west of Jupiter. Finally, on May 27th, a thin crescent moon, only about 8% illuminated, will lie just to the southeast of the brightest planet in our solar system, Venus, low on the horizon. Awesome. I love it when the planets have really easy to find places in the night sky. Usually, in relation to the moon. So let's check out the southern night sky first. I'll read each paragraph and then we'll find it on the map up here. So let's see what we have. Directly to the south are two fairly faint constellations, Corvus the Crow and Crater the Cup. The pair lie low in the south, directly above Hydra the water snake, which is fully visible, though faint. So let's see, there's Corvus, Crater, which definitely looks like a water cup, doesn't it? And big ol' Hydra, water snake, which definitely looks like a water snake. Leo the Lion and Virgo the Maiden are the most noticeable constellations in the south. Virgo's brightest star, Spica, shines brightly. Spica is a variable star, meaning its brightness changes over time, and it lies roughly 262 light years away from Earth. It's also the 14th brightest star in the sky and part of a binary system. We talked about Spica a lot in last year's space series. But here's Leo, and oh, where is she? Virgo's this way. It's the southern sky. She's the other direction. There's Virgo and there's Spica. Looks like the next paragraph is about this Virgo galaxy cluster. Let's see what it says. In Virgo lies the Virgo galaxy cluster, home to roughly 2,000 galaxies. In between Virgo and Corvus is the Sombrero galaxy, or Messier 104. We see this galaxy edge on with its prominent dust lane best viewed through large telescopes. It lies about 28 million light years away and is one of the most massive objects in the Virgo galaxy cluster, weighing in at 800 million suns. So there's the Virgo galaxy cluster up in this area just below the zenith, and the Sombrero galaxy you can find just there between Virgo and Corvus. And check it out. You can see how it got its name. Isn't that beautiful? That's really incredible. Let's see what else we have. Above Virgo is the constellation Coma Berenices, or Berenices' hair. Within this constellation is Messier 53, a beautiful tight globular cluster that is one of the most distant globular clusters at 59,700 light years away. The cluster can be seen through small telescopes, though larger ones will reveal the individual stars themselves. There's Coma Berenices, which is hair. It sounds like it's a comb, right? But anyway. And there's M53, the far, far, far away globular cluster. Awesome. Let's check out the northern sky, which, like I always say, this book is from Canada, so it's very biased toward the northern sky. But let's see what it says. Cygnus the swan is rising in the northeast, along with Lyra the Lear. I don't know where I got that from. The brightest star in the latter constellation is Vega. It is the 5th brightest star and is just 25 light years from Earth. In popular culture, it was featured as the location of an alien signal in Carl Sagan's book Contact and the movie of the same name. Have you seen that movie? It's a pretty good one. Let's find Cygnus. Let's see, rising in the northeast, so it's just down here. Coming up, there's Lyra, and there's bright Vega, apparently where we can make contact with aliens, according to Carl Sagan. A fiction book, obviously, but anyway. The constellation is also home to the Ring Nebula, Messier 57. The nebula looks like what its name suggests, a ring, and is about 2,000 light years away. Though not visible to the unaided eye, it is visible through small telescopes. You can find it right here, just near Vega in the sky, and it'll look like that. It's pretty cute. A little nebula. The mighty Hercules is now firmly placed in the northeast, presenting a great chance to check out the globular cluster Messier 13. There's another great nearby globular cluster, Messier 92, which is one of the brightest in our galaxy, with about 300,000 tightly packed stars. You can find it to the west of Hercules and its asterism, the Keystone. So let's find Hercules. Where is he? Do you see him? I got lost. There he is. Hercules. So I'm guessing this is the Keystone, the asterism, which is a shape inside a constellation. Here's Messier 13 and Messier 92 right there. It says that one's one of the brightest. It's pretty cool. Let's see what else we have. You might notice a bright star now rising higher in the northeast. That's Deneb, the brightest star in Cygnus, representing the tail of the swan. The star is roughly 200 times more massive than our sun and is one of the most distant stars we can see with the naked eye, lying some 1,500 light years away. There's Deneb just down there on the edge of, the sky, basically, from what most people can see. And what else? Oh, the Big Dipper's asterism is high above, with the star at the tip of the handle Al-Qaid lying almost at the zenith. Very prominent in the summer skies, the Big Dipper here, with its tail. There's Al-Qaid, and yep, there's the zenith right there, so it's pretty close to the top of the sky. That's neat. Lastly, Cepheus has moved farther to the northeast, while Cassiopeia lies low in the north and Perseus sinks lower in the northwest. Auriga, the charioteer, is now beginning to disappear in the west. So we'll start to say goodbye to Cassiopeia, Perseus, and who else? Auriga. Where is it? In the west. Auriga. Wait, why don't I see Auriga? Do you see Auriga? Oh, it's right here next to me. My mom always said if it was a snake, it would have bit you. It's right there. Alright, so that's our night sky for this month. Let's learn a little bit more about what eclipses we can expect to see this year. Have you guys ever seen an eclipse before? A lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse? They're pretty remarkable. I saw the solar eclipse in 2017. I'll never forget it. It was so incredible. But anyway, let's read about it first. Eclipses. Eclipses, whether they're solar or lunar, are seemingly magical occurrences. In fact, that's exactly what many ancient civilizations believed. Several legends suggested a celestial being devoured the sun during a solar eclipse. For the Chinese, that being was either a dog or a dragon. The Vikings believed it was two wolves called Hati and Skull. For the Vietnamese, it was a giant frog. Today we understand that eclipses are awe-inspiring celestial events resulting from the movement and positions of the Earth, Moon, and Sun. There can be as many as 7 combined eclipses, as in solar and lunar, in a year, but no fewer than 4. A solar eclipse is truly a chance occurrence. The sun's diameter is roughly 400 times that of the moon, but the sun is also about 400 times farther away from Earth than the moon is from the Earth. This means the moon and the sun appear roughly the same size in the sky, with only about half a degree across of difference. In a total solar eclipse, the new moon covers the entire face of the sun, revealing the sun's stunning corona and prominences. As totality begins and ends, sunlight peeking around the mountainous limb of the moon creates fleeting effects, such as the diamond ring and Bailey's beads. If the moon were farther away or smaller, we wouldn't get this marvelous sight. In fact, the elliptical nature of both the Earth's orbit around the sun and the moon's orbit around the Earth means that the apparent diameters of both objects vary significantly. Consequently, it is common for eclipse durations to vary by several minutes. It should be noted that the totality only occurs in a very narrow path. Outside of this path, observers will only see a partial eclipse. That's why solar eclipse enthusiasts will travel great distances to take in the captivating sight of a totality. And my friends and I drove up to Oregon to see the total eclipse in 2017. It was life-changing. It was so beautiful. If you ever get the chance to see a total solar eclipse, without a doubt, take it. It's remarkable. Remember, do not look at a solar eclipse unless you use special equipment recommended by the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada or the American Astronomical Society. The only time it is safe to look at a solar eclipse with the naked eye is when it is at its total phase, with the sun completely covered by the moon. Maybe I'll talk about my experience at the eclipse in another video. Or maybe at the end of this one. We'll see how I feel. Anyway, because the moon orbits at a 5-degree inclination to the ecliptic, we don't get a solar eclipse every month. Every year there are 2 36-day eclipse seasons during which either solar or lunar eclipses can occur. And the eclipse seasons move backward in time every year by 19 days. Also, because the moon's orbit is elliptical, the angular size of the moon varies along its path, and sometimes we have the annular solar eclipse, or ring of fire, when the moon's disk does not completely cover the sun's disk. There may be anywhere between 0 to 2 total or annular solar eclipses in a given year. There may also be a partial solar eclipses when the moon's central shadow entirely misses the Earth. As for lunar eclipses, these occur when Earth is situated directly between the sun and the full moon. The moon drifts through Earth's two shadows, the penumbra, which is the fainter outer shadow, and the deeper shadow that is called the umbra. A penumbral eclipse is difficult to see with the naked eye as the brightness of the moon doesn't appear to dim much, but a partial or total lunar eclipse, when the moon passes through the umbra, is much more dramatic. During a total lunar eclipse, the moon can turn an orange-red color, depending on Earth's atmosphere. There may be anywhere between 0 to 3 total lunar eclipses in a given year. Typically, they occur about 2 weeks before or after a solar eclipse. While not all eclipses will be visible from North America, you can watch online on sites like SLOOH or the Virtual Telescope Project. You can also see astronomer Fred Espinak's webpage, eclipsewise.com, for a comprehensive treatment of solar and lunar eclipses. Eclipses in 2022. This year we're only treated to 2 partial solar eclipses and 2 total lunar eclipses. Unfortunately, neither of these solar eclipses will be visible from North America. The 2 lunar eclipses, however, will be visible in at least part of the continent, either partially or in their entirety. All the times listed are in UTC, or Coordinated Universal Time. It says you can calculate it, but that's what Google's for. Also, though, we have noted when the moon enters the penumbra, as this is part of the stages of the lunar eclipse, it is not noticeable to the human eye. So, lunar eclipses, we have a total eclipse May 15th to 16th, 2022. Just 2 weeks after a partial solar eclipse on April 30th, there will be a total lunar eclipse starting on the evening of May 15th. And the good news is that it will be visible across a large swath of North America. The entire lunar eclipse from start to finish will be seen east of Manitoba, Kansas, and Texas. West of those areas, the eclipse will be already underway at moonrise, but most locations will see the entire duration of totality. The exception is the Pacific Northwest, where the moon will rise in the evening twilight after totality starts. So you can see here that if you're in this white section, you'll be able to see the total eclipse. So pretty much this half of North America and all of Central America, the Caribbean, and South America. Whereas if you're in this area, you're only going to see a partial or eclipse at moonrise, eclipse at moonset. So you're not going to get a total one, apparently. Let's see the next one. The next total lunar eclipse will be on November 8th, 2022. As is typical with eclipses, 2 weeks after a solar eclipse, we're treated to a lunar eclipse that will be widely visible across North America. This time it's the West that gets to enjoy the entire eclipse from start to finish, particularly Alberta, British Columbia, Yukon, Northwest Territories, Alaska, Washington, Oregon, and California. East of those locations, the moon will set while the eclipse is underway, but most locations will see the entire duration of totality. The exception is for viewers in the Atlantic northeast of the continent, where the moon will set in morning twilight before totality ends. So if you're in the white over here or over here, you'll get to see it all, which includes me. So maybe I'll vlog or film it somehow in November when that happens. But if you're in this section, the eclipse happens at moonset. If you're over here, it happens at moonrise. If you're in here, you won't see anything at all because it'll be in the daytime for you. Let's look at these solar eclipses. And I'm putting this video out on the 29th my time, just in case I have any viewers in like Chile or in the Pacific who might get a chance to see it. It's a partial solar eclipse. You don't want to miss it on April 30th. This partial solar eclipse will be visible from the Southern Sea off the coast of Antarctica and from the Pacific Ocean off the coasts of Chile and Argentina. Some cities in the region might catch it, but it will be low on the horizon. The eclipse begins at 1846 UTC and lasts until 2239 UTC, though most of it will occur over open ocean. Surely someone will be out in a boat or on an island somewhere to film some of it. The next partial solar eclipse is on October 25th, 2022. Unlike the eclipse of April 30th, this partial solar eclipse will be visible across much of Eastern Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. It begins at 8:59 UTC and ends at 13:03 UTC. The eclipse maximum will be mainly visible throughout western Russia and Kazakhstan. So, let's see the point of greatest eclipse right here, but if you are in any of these parts of the world, you'll be able to see it. Pretty cool, in October. That's very exciting. So yeah, I guess real quick I'll talk about seeing the total eclipse. It's, it did look like this, but in a way it didn't. Like, it wasn't completely dark. It was like purple outside, and it was a color purple I've never seen and I cannot describe. Once totality happened, and so we were out in Oregon in the middle of nowhere in a field watching this, and all of a sudden this happens and birds start chirping like crazy, like they're like, what's going on? Chirp, 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 chirp. It was so loud with all these birds just like flipping out over this very sudden darkness happening. And you could see the rays, the corona here, and it was just so, I couldn't stop staring at it and just being like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it was so absolutely worth it. But like I said, it wasn't, like, what surprised me the most is that I expected everything to get pitch dark, but it wasn't black. Everything was purple. Like, everything was purple. Like, I don't even know how to describe the shade of purple, because it was like a dark purple, but you could still see like outlines of trees, and all my friends gathered around. It literally felt like I was looking around and I didn't feel like I was on Earth. I felt like I was on a different planet, and it was just the most bizarre experience. And then the moon moves and the light starts to come back. The birds stop. It's so strange. And then as we were driving back down to, oh gosh, where were we staying? It was in Southern Oregon, and it was just outside of Medford. That's where we were staying with one of my friends. And we were just all like in awe in the car. Like, we couldn't just stop smiling, and we were just very quiet and revered, and we all went out to eat, and we just like sat down at the table and just smiled and stared at each other, because we had all been through this incredible experience that we just did not have any words for. All we could do was just stare at each other and smile and just be like, wow. I can't describe the majesty. It was easily the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So again, I think the next total is in 2024. So please, if you have the chance to see it, please take that opportunity, because it's so absolutely worth it. And again, please wear protection on your eyes so you don't damage your eyes watching the eclipse happen. Please wear the right kind of glasses or use the right kind of methods. But anyway, I'm going to end the video here before this loud car drives by blasting music in the middle of the night. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this video relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a very good night.